Hi there. Uh, Hopefully this is streaming now. Let's see. Welcome everybody. We're doing something a little bit goofy today. You can't help but be silly when you're with Jess Tilly. So we are channeling the energy of the transits. So Jess is representing peace and family and friendship, and I am aloneness, deliverance, solitude. So anyway, we're going to have some fun today. I'm channeling my inner it looks like I'm the Unabomber, but I'm really not a violent person. I promise it's a peaceful kind of aloneness. So, want to welcome everybody who's here. Um, I know that we've got some people on Zoom and some people probably in the Facebook group, which I'm going to pull that up in a minute. If you want to say hi, Jess, while I'm pulling that up, that would be awesome.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Erin. So great to have you here live with us. So Kathy and I were just chatting and we're talking about how much fun it would be to incorporate something with clothing and your representation of this energy. And so we're like, why don't we dress up what our interpretation of the transits are? So as she was saying, I am, ta-da, gate 37. What do you think? Yes, gate 37. You feeling the vibes here?
I think
Um,
you kind of are the representation of that mother, peaceful, nurturing energy anyway. You
I
have
love
that
that.
defined, you don't have that defined in your chart though, do you?
I don't. I actually
No.
don't. I don't have anything defined on well, not on my ego side for the channel. My solar plexus, I only have the 55.
Right.
Yeah,
Those are
so
pretty cool to
I
have.
was I was feeling the vibes of like family and how family is a place of, everybody comes together, it's community, right? But it's that baseline where everybody gets to bring their own unique, that's why I have the necklace, their own unique piece to it and fit into the energy of this, right? The energy of this gate also holds that piece of harmony, that piece of peace. In a way that door greeter, which I have to admit, I think I would absolutely love to be a door greeter. I could see myself welcoming people, right? Going, hello, welcome to whatever the place is. Have a wonderful time. Actually, for a little bit at the Human Design Conference I did, somebody had to have a pee break, and I was like, oh, I can welcome people. It was
Yeah,
so
you very
much.
much have that energy.
Yeah, so I'm
So,
I'm enjoying this transit. So I'm representing gate 37 and Kathy is representing gate 40, which I'm loving your vibes. This is making me ridiculously happy.
yes, it's that like this. Okay, so first of all, I have to add that I do have gate 40 defined. I have gate 40 line 5, so very heretical, right?
Mm.
Um, and it's defined by my personality Uranus. So it's what makes me weird. So here I am. I'm the weirdo today. And I'm embracing it. And and in that energy, I decided I am not taking my disco ball out of the window. So that's why there's lots of things. In fact, it's not as much as it usually is. So maybe the sun is kind of behind a cloud, but I have a big disco ball in my sunny window. So that's all um, the little things you'll see. And at some point when I'm saying something really deep and meaningful in my ridiculous get up and I have a mirror reflecting right on my nose or something, that's a sign to pay attention, right? Um, so anyway, we wanted to talk about the transits in a little bit more fun way today. So if people are joining us late and we have not described it, they're going to be like, what the heck are you guys doing in these get-ups? And you'll just have to go back and watch the replay if you missed why we're in these get-ups and you don't understand it. So hopefully, people will get it in some way, shape, or form. Although I don't, Jess, I feel like you could wear that naturally, so people don't necessarily like. I feel like you're the kind of person who just decides today I'm going to wear a flower crown, and you do that naturally,
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I do tend to wear bows in my hair and flowers aren't a stretch. So
right?
I think
Yeah,
maybe I need to up it next time, right?
yeah. So, although I don't want us to necessarily think of these transit reports as a learning space, we are learning when we're doing this, and there's a lot of research that shows that when we're having fun, we learn better, right? And so, and Jess and I were having a really good conversation about that last week about just being more playful in some of the stuff that we're doing. So, hence, here we are, me and I thought about wearing my robe, but I just couldn't bring myself to wear brown on camera, and I still haven't found a colorful robe. So I still have to be me, right? Because that's really the energy of all this. So let's get into it because I'm sure we have a lot to talk about with the transits instead of just talking about us and our weirdness. I mean that in the most
Can
loving
we,
way.
I would just love to invite everybody out there as well. If you would like to share and put on an outfit of what you think if you feel gate 37 right now, if you want to share that, or gate 40, if you want to put it in the group, or however you want to share it, email it to us. We love this and we love the connection. We love the community. And next time when we go live, if you want to come live with us and come dressed up as something, it would make me so
Ooh,
amazingly
this is going to be
happy.
Transit Talk cosplay. I didn't mean to cut you
Yes,
off, but
it,
right?
it is. You know, wear something because life gets so chaotic. It gets so, there's so much going on. And sometimes we can get so stuck in like the, mundaneness of life, like doing this, that we forget to play. We forget to stop and just have some fun. So if we can have fun and we can talk about human design and get into our experience, I mean, let's do it, right? This is what we're here for. So yeah, really
And
excited.
I am just really holding space for the day when we do these calls and our screen is just filled with all these little squares of people in their ridiculous uniqueness, just showing up in whatever they think, is going to represent how they feel about whatever transit. I mean, if you're really in the energy of the 35, 36 channel of transitoriness and the emotional experiences, and you want to just show up with a big box of Kleenex or something, I don't know, right?
Please, please,
Right, just do
please
it.
do it. Yes.
Right. Okay. So do you want to start with an overview? Am I going to be able to talk this whole time with this thing up on my head? Um,
You do. It's amazing.
okay. Do you
Um,
want to start with like an overview of the transits?
yes, let me
Okay.
share real quick. Let's see. Can you see? So this is what we're looking at right now, as far as the transits go. So our sun, we've got 37 right now, and 37 is here in the solar plexus. And you'll notice, so we have the whole channel right here for the 3740, which is the channel of community. And this one is a tribal wave. So coming back to, again, the basics of solar plexus, this is emotions. How do emotions move? It's an emotional wave. The tribal wave, how does that move? It's like, so you have the individual, which is much faster, tribal kind of in the middle, and then the collective, which takes a little bit longer. So it's like up, down, up, down, up, down, then down, right? Is what we're experiencing for the tribal 3740. We're also experiencing over here, we've got the 3635, right? And this is the channel of transitoriness. And this is a collective wave that we're feeling right now. So I think I would really like to just start with taking a moment to really recognize, I mean, about half of the population doesn't have a defined solar plexus, but right now we're feeling a lot of those emotions. We're feeling a lot of this energy. So just taking a moment to take that deep breath and connect back in and loving ourselves so deeply because we are feeling.
Sending you love, Jess. I have my individual wave that kind of has a
Yeah.
foundation. But yes, for those of you who are not built this way,
About
uh,
half of us, right?
right.
And so just taking a moment to go, whew, we've been feeling a lot right now, and coming back to a place, if it feels good to you, just put your hand on your heart, just take that deep breath in and just connect inwards and just, and I love and accept myself exactly as I am. Coming back to that place of love, loving yourself, you're feeling all the things, honoring those emotions, but coming back to really just loving and accepting yourself, right? And then that's where the transformation can happen from that place of love. So recognizing that, right? There's a lot of energy going on right now through these transits. We're going through a lot of those activations in the solar plexus. And then we also moved into Neptune, moved into 25. I think that was on February 10th. And so with this activation, would love to hear how everybody's been experiencing this. Um, For me personally, it's definitely been connecting in with that higher self. And this is more of the mysticism, right? So this is where we've been in a place where religion, that connection has been outsourced. It's how do I get the answers out there? It's starting to come back within yourself, right? Coming back to yourself, connecting in with that connection with your higher self. So how is that playing in your life right now? You're taking the time to do that. How are you experiencing that 25? Um, and then coming back to the sun right now, which is the current activation, is the 37. And so this is family. This is the gate of friendship. And then Kathy, do you have the other names for it? I'm not familiar with all of those.
It's sometimes known as the gate of family, or I think that's the traditional name, then the gate of friendship, and then it's also known as the gate of peace in quantum human design.
Mhm.
Um, and then in Gene Keys, they don't have necessarily a name for it. They have a name for the different energies within it. So,
Mhm.
and I don't have that open right now, so I'm gonna go back to that.
Um,
And I have it here, but if you want to wait, I'll pull it up. I just had um
are you talking about the line?
the Gene Keys names for it. Because I always have to look at all that stuff because it's somewhere up there. Anyway, I noticed there's a few new people watching in the Facebook group, and I want to remind people that the link is pinned in there. And if anybody wants to join us in the Zoom here, you're welcome to do that. But there's nothing wrong with staying there, but especially if you're scared of us right now. Or me, I guess. Like I said, for those coming in late, I think it's just like I almost need a little sign up that says, I am gate 40 energy right now. That's what
No,
I am
you
visually
don't. You
representing,
know
right?
what?
So that
That's
people,
the beauty. That's the beauty of it, especially because the
right.
40 is that individual. You don't have to explain yourself to
This is
anybody.
true.
You
And
get
I'm
to
also,
be uniquely you.
I wanted to say, before I go back into what I was saying, when you were talking about gate 25, that bridge is one of my splits. It connects with my gate 21. So as a triple split, that's an energy that really speaks to me. Okay, so the gene keys, the shadow of gate 37 is weakness. Being over sentimental or cruel are the two extreme expressions of that weakness. And the gift is equality, and the city is tenderness. So the city is the highest expression. So those are the names that come in there. And this is, obviously we're in the astrological sign Pisces. And one of the things I wanted to mention is the Pisces is the last sign of the astrological year before we start the new astrological year. We've started the new human design year, but in astrology, Pisces is still about endings and finishing things up. And remember, numerology wise, we talked about in another episode how this is a 9 year, which is about endings, letting things go. So we're really in that energy of letting things go. And then we have a new moon coming up too, which is all about our intentions going forward. So this, and so many things come into this message of what do we want to take forward? Mars just stationed direct. We're still in that like kind of sluggish, about to start phase of that forward momentum before it really goes. But it's again asking us, what are we bringing forward with us? So that's a lot of the energy in this gate 37 energy of the family, peace, friendship. It's all about our relationships. And last week we were in gate 59, which was the intimacy, right? And now we're talking about the commitment within those relationships. So I feel like I kind of went on a whole bunch of things and you were just asking one simple question, but that's how my mind works.
That was beautiful. I love that. That was so beautiful, which actually brought up for me. I was just thinking, talking about the moon. The moon's in 61 right now, right? And
Mhm.
that's mystery. That's that inner truth and coming to that inner truth that is uniquely yours, right? What is that truth for you? What is that mystery of life? Um, which is so beautiful that we're in that 61 right now for the moon. So yeah, the 37, the sun energy we're feeling right now. Aaron said, I love this. I love welcoming people into the group. I'm all 3740. Nice. Love you, Aaron. Yes, I can feel it. You seem amazing. 3-5 projector. Yes, I would like to recognize you. Thank you for your contribution. That's super amazing. Yeah, the 37 is really, it's almost like this, like you said, like a glue, right? It's bringing that community together. It's bringing that family together. It's that nurturing energy. It's also very about like touch, like hugging hugging, which I'm 100% about. I feel like this is my distant cousin, right? This Kate and I are so related. For anybody who doesn't know, I love to hug. I'm a big, big hugger. I love to hug people when I meet them. So bringing that together, holding the community, holding the family together. And there is such a power in it, in that recognition, when that 37 gets that recognition, because it works with the energy of the 40, which is more the resources. And looking for, if you don't have that 40, which naturally in your chart you have the 37, you don't have the 40, you're looking for that person with those resources that you can distribute, for the resources for you to use for this community. With this one, there is a lot of sensitivity with it, and it can be related to like the mouth, food. So learning how to really be present with your emotions, feeling your emotions, and working on what is this that I'm feeling right now? What is it, that connection, connecting inward and connecting with those emotions is important with that 37, as well as boundaries, right? This has to do with the transaction of, yes, I'm going to do this. I'd love to be your door greeter. I would love to do these things, but what is that boundary? What am I getting? What are you getting? And so we're also talking about communication. What is the communication going between those people, that they're both on the same page? So that there is that clear boundary. So looking at places in your life right now, where am I having that clear communication? Where am I not having that clear communication? Do I have those boundaries? And what does that look like? Because that is that agreed upon, not just like, oh, I'm thinking potentially this. It's like we actually sit down and have that talk of what that looks like for you.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Okay, so if we're not looking at the chart, do you want to stop sharing for a minute, maybe?
I
Or
do, because you
okay,
know what? I will leave it up there forever because it's up on my
right,
screen anyway. So
right,
thank you for reminding me. You
right.
need to do like a
So
nose scratch or something
I
like
feel like
that.
I can't
Put
see
it
you well enough,
out.
but it's weird because I'm like a let me see in your eyes kind of person, and you can't see in mine, so maybe I'm cheating. Can you kind of see it? No, maybe not. Okay,
Oh,
so anyway, sorry, I'm very squirrely today, and I'm wondering if it's this what in the energy is making me feel this way, but that's I think it is a double layer of this gate 40 really calling me to go inward, right? And so I keep going into my own place. So this gate 37 to me though is really about loyalty. It's about I will do for you, I will love you, I will be your friend, I will be your family, I will take care of you, I will do everything, but there has to be a reciprocal recognition and loyalty in return. Like this is very much where the agreements live for relationships, right? I will I will be for you if you be for me, right? And it's very in a little bit it's a little bit tit for tat, right? There's a little bit of scorekeeping in this channel. Like it's that's why that whole tribal wave, if you ever look at the visuals for the tribal wave, it shows it as, it kind of ratchets up, right? And this is the energy that says, "Oh, it's okay. He didn't mean it. It's okay. They usually don't leave a big mess like this. Oh, it's okay. They were just tired. That's why they said what they said." And we make allowances, and we make allowances for the things that really bother us. And then one little thing, you come home and there's you know, a sock on the floor by the couch, or maybe that wouldn't bother you, but whatever it is, there's one little thing, right? The dishes are not wherever you wanted them to be in the dishwasher or the sink or whatever. And you lose it because it's there's been so many unsaid little things, right? And then when you put up with so many things and you feel like I have been so patient and so understanding and put up with so much stuff. And I just gasped this so few things, and you can't do this little thing, and you lose it. And the person is like, oh my God, it's a freaking sock, right? What is wrong with you? And because you lose it. Or maybe you don't lose it, but you overreact in their opinion. They feel like it's wait, the response that you had to this thing is not you know, related to the thing because it has all those other things. It's the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back, right? And so the lesson in this for us is to respond before we react, to know, okay, is this feeling I have really warranting this explosive or charged reaction? Or is it telling me that I'm maybe not saying things about all the other things? And instead of just right away, boom, thinking, why do I feel so strongly about this? Right? And looking at it and saying, where am I not speaking up for what's important to me? Or where am I taxed in other places of my life? So this one little thing is making me see that, oh, I'm taking care of everybody else so much, right? And then that goes into that gate 40 energy. I think a lot of times when the tribal wave explodes, for lack of a better term, when there's that, the low happens, it's often because we are depleted. Because if we weren't tired, we would just do and do and do and do and do. That's the nature of the 37. We would do everything for everyone, right? But the 40 says, what about me? When do I get to out for me? When do I get to go and just hide and just not have anybody ask me, where are my shoes? Okay. Right. I mean, I remember those days. You have two young kids. Like the whole thing, like I used to joke that I was going to have a jar for every time I had to find stuff for people. And I would have money to go on vacations and stuff, all this stuff for myself because, and it still happens now, my daughter, not so much because she doesn't, I don't know, everything's in her room and I don't dare go in there. I don't know where anything is. But she's 24 now. But my husband will often be like, do you know where whatever is? And I'll be like, well, you came home and you went and you did this and blah, blah, blah. So here it is. It's in the refrigerator, right? Or whatever. So, that energy of always doing for other people, not having it reciprocated, can really drain us. And that's often when the tribal emotional wave crashes, or you don't get that touch, that loving hug. You don't get that acknowledgement for the things that you're doing. And that's where the balance comes in this energy. And so, yep,
You're
I guess
getting your
pay
sparkle on your
attention.
face.
My disco ball is shining on me
Your
so that
disco ball is saying balance.
right,
That's what it's about. I'm
right.
feeling balance right now. That's the word that's definitely coming through, that balance piece. And what came up for me was it's like, wake up, I see you.
I don't know if I'm
I'm
gonna be able to keep
coming.
this hood up this whole time though, because it's so hot right now.
Oh,
I mean,
just take it off.
I know,
But
right?
I would like to openly invite you here sometime to wear your robe. I think we all need to see this robe sometime.
The one ugly thing I keep in my wardrobe
I
because
love it,
it's
and I'm
so comfy.
excited for it.
It is very much gate 40. But honestly, the other reason I didn't put on it is it's super warm and this room gets too hot. I
Yeah,
would have had to turn the air on or something.
that
Okay.
makes sense.
So, and I
But
didn't even,
yeah, so with
in
people,
gate 40 spirit, I didn't put any makeup on this morning other than a little lip color. So
you
no,
look
I thought it wouldn't
amazing.
matter with my sunglasses, but the sunglasses don't work without the hoodie. So,
Yeah. And just
okay.
to talk about boundaries real quick, touching on this, a lot of times people think boundaries and you go, oh, I have to put up like this huge big wall. Nobody can come in, like there's no access. But just taking a minute to like address like what is your relationship with boundaries and starting to look at them as that like white picket fence, that little fence that you have in your garden that protects your flowers, right? That says you can come on in, come up to my home. This is my pathway. This is where you can walk to get to my door, to come hang out in my garden, come have tea with me, but please don't step on my flowers. This is the place where I don't want you to tread, to help direct people. So it more actually encourages people to come to know how to navigate through there rather than when you can potentially think boundaries like, oh, I'm putting a stone wall, nobody can come in or come out. So starting to find places where you can put those little pieces of guidance and feeling a little bit more solid and saying, maybe no, right? Or saying maybe yes to something where you didn't before, and finding beauty in those boundaries because that's where that balance is, so that it isn't the sock on the floor that makes you go, ah, I'm done, right?
right?
We've all been
Right?
there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really beautiful analogy. I also want to say that if there's anybody here that's in the Zoom that wants to come on camera and wants to talk about this, we really want this to be an interactive type of conversation. So if anybody has any insights or experiences or even questions about how this energy is showing up for you, the transit changed last night, so you might have woke up feeling different this morning. Did anybody feel like they woke up feeling different this morning? Anybody?
And yeah, line one right now. We're in line one. So 37 is the mother father energy right now. So how is that showing up? The mother father. And then we move line two, responsibility. Line three, even-handedness. Line four, leadership by example. Line five, love.
That's my Chiron.
Love. Oh, oh, I love
37
that.
line 5 is
Line
my
five. Oh, that's beautiful.
personality Chiron.
Mm. And then line six, purpose, right? Seeing how those move through the hexagram.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then yeah, if you want to speak to 40, uh,
Okay. So
I don't
40 is on the will center,
know.
and it is the only gate. No, I lied. Never mind. I was going to say something that was wrong, and then as soon as I started to say it. But it's okay, so gate 40 is on the will center, and it is this energy of restoration, right? It's like, do I have the resources to contribute to the tribe? Am I taking care of myself enough to do what I need to do for myself before I can come in? So it's called the gate of aloneness. I've heard it, or it's also called deliverance. It's also called restoration in quantum human design. And then I've heard it referred to as the gate of loneliness also, but that just sounds sad because I don't think it's loneliness. I don't know. Um, because it is, although there is a little bit of this energy of never feeling like you belong, right? Like there's a little bit of a worry that you cannot be yourself.
Mhm.
And so I definitely relate to that. And in fact, when I was writing my blog last night, I really was reflecting on how oftentimes, in our chart, we always have layers of different kinds of themes, right? And so I have this theme with the Uranus, gate 40, line 5. But I also have on my design side, um, my conscious sun is 59.2 and I mean, not conscious, my design sun 59.2 and my design earth is 55.2. So there's hermiting energy in both of those, and it's all about intimacy, right? So there's really this reclusiveness and this mistrust kind of feeling that can be there where I don't really know if it's okay in this relationship. Will this intimate relationship, when I say intimate, I don't necessarily mean partnership. It can be a intimate friendship. Anything beyond the superficial, um, that's not even the right word. Like I've always been great in the beginning phases of things. But in the past, when as soon as things start to go deep and I start to express anything, I have the 3955, anything on that low end of my wave, that 55-2 energy, right? As soon as I start to express any of that sort of part of me, I would be like, oh, here I gotta go. I gotta go. They're not going to accept me. I have this channel 1-8. That channel 1-8 is very susceptible to any kind of criticism, even just to look like, what are you talking about? Which might mean they're reflecting on something and they've never thought about it. But I would always take it as, oh man, you're the weirdo again. Here's the weirdo, right? Because 40 line 5 is this Uranus energy. What makes us different? I would often um, go inward, pull back, and not ever go deeper in my relationships because of that, because I did not feel like I could be who I really am. And that line 40 or that gate 40 really needs to know that it's safe to be who they are in the relationship and that it's safe to be not contributing. If you look at the way that the will center is designed, the top of it, right on the other side is 25, right? Or goes towards 25, 51 and 25. 25 is on the, this is just me making up my own
Here we
stuff,
go. I got
okay?
it on the screen.
So the if you look at you take the line, you go up, so you've got your resources on the 21, and then you go to the 25 of on the G and you're really needing to know that that's where that love of spirit is, right? And so that sorry, my throat is doing something, which usually means the universe says just stop talking for a minute.
Mm-mm. It's telling you you need to clear your throat, and instead of saying,
Mm.
"Oh no, I'm weird,"
Right,
it's saying, "Say, I'm
right,
weird. I'm
right,
weird, and I found my place, and I am loved
right.
for being weird, and I'm
But
celebrated
no,
for being
seriously though, when I do notice sometimes the throat thing happens because I'm trying to come at it from a place in my mind. Like
weird."
I start to lose where I was going, and then my mind worries about, oh, you're not making sense to people, and I start to go for my mind, and then I feel like my throat interrupts me, so I can
Mm.
pause and regroup because I often find with my completely open ajna and my right facing mind variable, things need to be pulled out of me. And I try with my left facing brain and body to make it happen. And it just doesn't work that way, right? So I don't know if I'm making any sense to anyone, but I'm just going to go back to what I was saying, which is that gate 40 energy for me is always looking for this missing piece that connects me. That gate 25 for me is a bridging gate, okay? Which is this where unconditional love of spirit connected to us being, that's where we connect to our sense of self connects to everybody else, right? And that has always felt missing to me in a way that is very um, indicative of how a bridging gate will feel in your design, right? So I would go, that gate 40 energy goes inward and then says, no, you can't be yourself. People aren't going to accept you. And then that gate 37 energy that we're in now is my Chiron. So it's the wound I need to heal, the wound that says, you can be loved for who you are, right? It's for me, that's how I've taken it, is that I can give what I need. I can give what I need to give, what I want to give and nurture, and not need to know what's going to come in return, right? Because there is a lot of tit for tat, quid pro quo, I heard once, lives in the 3740. That saying of, you know, I'm spot on, right? That's my disco ball. It's like my magic. For
It
those who are just
knows.
coming in, I have a disco ball in my window that I did not take out this morning. I usually do for calls, but it's giving me. I'm channeling my inner weirdo today. I left it in, and it's telling me. I feel like it's a Ouija ball now, like or a Ouija board. It's like
Yes.
the magic 8 ball, right?
Yes, you're on it. You're on it. And that's beautiful. It's coming back to that piece of balance, right? Where it's not transactional of just this for that, but as well as it's not in a place where you don't know what those boundaries are. Sometimes this is talked about in the sense of like a marriage, right? Because you know what you're getting into, you know what you're signing up for, you know what that contract is and what that looks like for both of you.
Mhm.
Finding that place where it's not just like I'm giving and giving and giving and being depleted. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then also with the 40, sometimes there's that sense of like you can be like in a room full of people, but you can still feel alone. But finding that beauty in that you're not just conforming to the norm, to what is happening in the tribe, that you get to be your own unique individual energy there within. And finding your people where you feel like, you can be yourself authentically, your weird self, and you can wear whatever you wear and be celebrated. Exactly the same thing. I also have the 1/8. And with that energy, it's your own unique creativity, but it's sensitive. It's very, very sensitive. And so finding places where we can celebrate and creating things like that, right? Where you can come here, and we'd love to hear if anybody wants to share about, your experiences with, even feeling alone sometimes, or feeling like you can't express who you are, or what is that relationship with your higher self? How do you feel connected to that? How is that showing up for you right now? What are you feeling, even with the emotional waves? What is your experience? Because at the end of the day, human design, it's the human design experiment, right? Like, what are you feeling? How are you uniquely experiencing what's going on? So,
If there's anyone in the group on the call that wants to come out, just pop out. But I wanted to read, I noticed Vicky is in the Facebook group, and she says 40.5 and 40.3 in Pluto, 39.4/55.2 is one of my two channels, with Chiron sitting on my design 55.4 and personality 37.4. And personality's sun, gate 21. The struggle is real as a true weirdo. Yes,
yeah.
Vicky, I can relate. And we all just need to embrace our weirdness, right? Like, weird is a beautiful word.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I feel like Lisa is here to talk about her inner weirdo, maybe, huh? I love your energy. I actually just saw that. I was like, oh, Lisa should come out and talk.
Hello.
You have something to say?
Hi.
I do. I just said so. We've obviously just 37 because I haven't had time to look
Yeah, last
today.
night,
Okay, right.
late,
But
like
before,
10.
before we were in 55, and before that we were in 30, and before that we were in 49. I have all of those gates.
Mm.
And one of the realizations that I made last Tuesday was, okay, so I have the 3955 channel, right? So I have emotional wave that goes from highest hive to the depth of to hell in 0.25 seconds, right? And it can last, it's very unpredictable, and it can last as long as it lasts. But then when I realized it's okay, so you also have the 49, and you also have the 30. So when those are connected from the other end, you get those waves as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
in addition to my normal emotional waves, I can get the other ones
Yep.
as well. And I didn't even think about that before. And now
Mhm.
that I have, I'm like,
Mhm.
your life is just emotion, right? And it's all about how you handle those emotions. Because I know when I get to my own normal wave, I just ride it out now. I just like take a surf. Where are we going? We're going all the way down. We're going to do what we're going to do. I take the creativity that I get at the top. I take creativity that I get in the middle, and I take the creativity that I get from the downside. The one thing that I do when I get to that hell part is I tend to isolate myself from people. I don't really want to be around them, and I let them know that this is the time that I just introspect, and I don't really need anybody around me, and I don't need nobody asking me how I am. If maybe I don't
So what's
surface
your
in
profile numbers?
1-3.
1, 3. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm like that too. Now, I didn't used to be.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know, but I thought maybe that was my line too. But there's a lot to. I think that the emotional waves really do draw us inward.
Mhm.
so that we can really create and mutate and do all the stuff that the low end is bringing to us, right?
Yeah.
But I wonder if you were always like that, or did you ever see, I used to seek comfort and help all the time when I was feeling the lows of my emotional wave. I was always um, almost using it. I've often said I used to use my emotional wave as a weapon almost, right? Like I would get attention from it.
I would get angry and then retreat. But there was just one more thing I wanted to say is that I realized that when I live my life through line one, when my waves come, they feel really heavy
Mm.
to. But when I live it through the three line of just this is an experience and this is just something that's happening, it feels so light. Even when I'm in the depths, it still feels much lighter than trying to research and move into my foundations. It's like, no, 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 no. You just need to experience what's going on. The quicker you ride that experience, the quicker you will go the other way or decide that this is where you want to stay a while and then stay. And it feels that's one of the things that's made the biggest difference to me is to understand about the wave and then now understand about the waves because I feel like Katrina and the waves now.
It's funny that you bring up music, and I think there was something else that somebody said, I think you might have said at the beginning, because Jess and I were actually talking about what songs do we think of when we think of the energy of a gate, and you bring up Katrina and the Waves just as a group name, but it's just funny. We were going to play some music, but we didn't think of it in time to figure out the way to stream music, so we can't play our songs. We could sing them and then
Yeah.
really freak
Oh,
everyone.
oh, we totally will. Yes, we will. I'm sorry if you're not here to be freaked out.
Right?
This is not, yeah. I
So
love that.
when I say
Beautiful.
Katrina and the waves, I'm thinking 58, gate 58 is walking on sunshine.
Oh, there you go.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And you
Mhm.
have that in your chart, right?
I
Mhm.
have the 18, I don't have the 58,
Ah,
although
okay.
which is really weird to me because I'm all about the joy.
Yeah, that's your podcast name, right? Isn't it
Yeah.
something about joy? What is the
Hmm.
name of your podcast again?
The joy genius, but I've
That's right.
discontinued. I did the
Oh, you
experience.
did.
I did the experience. I decided that if I'm going to do a podcast, I need to record it and then give it to other people to do the things to because I can't
A
follow
lot of
through.
work.
Yeah, it is
A
a
lot
lot
of
of work.
work. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's okay. You can borrow my 58. That's my Saturn and design Neptune. So I'm happy to bring.
And she is walking on sunshine, right? If you've been around Jess Tilly for more than 5 seconds, you like
Mhm.
Jess is joy, right? Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
Yeah,
awesome. Thanks,
Lisa.
Lisa. I
Thank
appreciate
you
it.
for sharing that, especially to have that perspective from somebody who is emotionally defined. I found with the transits, something that I already have defined. Um, seems a little bit more familiar for me when we go through that and we move through that. I'm like, this is an energy I know. I know how to move through it. But a lot of times it's something and I'm like, whoa, what is happening right now? What am I feeling? What's going on? And you look at the transit and I'm like, oh, I see what's happening. And sometimes it's normally something else is bridging and something else is activated. So yeah, that
Yeah.
was cool.
And even having the gates, we can often feel it in such a different way. Especially if it's something that's defined for us in one of those outer planets where it's
Mhm.
a much different thing than getting 70% of the neutrino stream blasted into that area in a whole new way, brings in a whole new thing. So, did you want to say something, Kyle, or are you just coming out to? I'd love to have, I know Erin made some comments too, if anybody wants to.
Oh, you're muted.
Erin, yeah, you're still muted. There we go.
There we go. Yeah, thank you for having this conversation. It's really helpful. Like Lisa, the wave goes up and then it just crashes. And I found myself yesterday being offered to go do something with the family, but I said, no, I can't do it. I got nothing in the tank for you. So I just had to sit and lay low for the day. And then, Kathy, you also mentioned waking up early at the beginning for
Mhm.
37. And he said, you felt squirrely for some reason today. And I feel that 100%. I woke up at like 4 in the morning, like, bing, I'm wide awake, sat up, said, what's going on? Oh yeah, we're in transits right now. This is the 37 wave, and it's in full effects right now. So um,
Yeah, and
really
we
interesting.
also, I think the Mars changing too. I mean, no, most of these energies don't have an exact, even though there's a time they say, like we don't feel it in that exact time. We feel it a little before and a little after, but it definitely, all this changing in the last few hours will definitely impact how we felt and how we slept, right? Um, is that what you felt like it woke you up almost, huh?
Something did. Yeah, I've definitely had to do with a lot of things that are going on in my life right now. But as far as looking back and see, I tend to take this as looking back at the past with the gate 30, 63 and 64 in the head. And then you always look back at the past. So I tend to kind of not keep this in the forefront, but I keep it in what is going on in my life or what happened in the recent days that were kind of happening. So I kind of understand it a little bit better. But it's funny that that ratchet wave, Lisa, that speaks to me fully. And like you want to be at your best at all times and you can't. It's just you got to rest. But thank you for so much for explaining a lot of this. It's helpful.
So before you go, because I have a question about when you said no to your family because you had nothing in the tank. How did you feel after you said that no? Were you okay with that, or did that, because a lot of times that's a hard thing to say to our family. And did you feel like um you were able to then go and restore your tank? Or because I know in the past, sometimes even when I know I can't do something because I don't have it, the guilt of having said I wouldn't do it keeps me from actually being able to fill my tank because now I'm still outward. I'm not going inward and taking care of me. And so I'm just wondering if you were able, do you feel like you filled your tank a little bit?
My guilt was purely before I sent the message yesterday. Once I sent the message, I felt great about my decision. I knew what my decision needed to be, but it was the guilty part of sending the message and saying, no, I can't, because I usually just I cop it off as I'm not feeling well. I don't tell anybody what's going on. I know what's going on now, but I say I'm not feeling well. I can't do it, or I'll put it on my daughter. I'll just be like, we're not feeling well, can't do anything. But yes, it was once I sent that message, the guilt left, and I just went through my day knowing that I needed to rest, and
What
it
is
felt
your
so much better.
what is your human design type?
It's the 3-5 projector.
Are you emotional or splenic or
Yeah, emotional, so solar plexus and in the heart. Yep.
okay?
Yeah, 3740 is my what do you call it? My profile? No, it's not my profile.
That's your your authority channel. Is that part of
Yes.
your what's your is it in your incarnation cross? Do you have the 30 is that part of your incarnation cross?
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
The
so
sun and the moon, yeah.
the sun and
Not
the
the
earth.
sun and the moon, sun and earth. Oh my God, I'm stuck on moon.
I'm glad
Thank
you
I'm
do
you.
it
like, what?
too. It's okay,
Thank
Jess.
you. I'm still kind
Awesome.
of learning it, but yeah, it's kind
Yeah,
of
abs
I'm a few years into the experiment, but I want to go deeper with understanding the transits, the channels, and all that. I kind of get the authority and what I'm supposed to do as a projector, and just utilize my energy when I have it. But I would love to like learn that side of it more, defining what are the channels and gates.
yeah. Okay.
Just want
Cool.
to add real quick, Lisa said yes to leaving the guilt behind after you sent the message. Just really want to take a minute to celebrate you right now because
Yeah.
that's amazing. It's hard. It's hard, right? To set those boundaries because so often we do know what we need and we just set that aside.
And I'm really big on right now, I'm asking a lot of people. In fact, I might have had a little conversation with someone else on this call last week about when you say no, not feeling like no is a complete sentence.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be no, I'm not feeling well. No, my daughter isn't blah blah blah. It can just be like, no, thank you. I'm not going to make it. No, thank
I've,
you.
the
That's
other
not going to
thing
work.
was I just learned was saying no to what's happening and not to the person, or vice versa, saying no to what is coming,
Mhm.
what you're being asked to do. You're not saying
Right.
no to the person. or the
Right.
situation you're saying, and that really helps me kind of
Yes.
go, okay, well, I don't feel it's a hockey game that I don't want to attend
Right.
right now, and I got nothing for that. So it's
Yes.
not saying no to you, my cousin, family. It's
Right.
more about the situation.
That
Yeah. So that's
that's
very
real
helpful.
that's really great. And that's something that when we frame our responses, we can say, no, I'd love to spend time with you sometime
Yeah,
soon, but this isn't going to work. This is going to be a no or something to that effect. So yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sure.
I'm traveling to my clients right now, so I kind of have to go, but I'll listen for a few
Yeah.
more minutes.
Awesome.
Great to
I'm gonna
have
look
you.
for this thank you. I'm gonna look for this again. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You'll be here every
Great.
6 days as long as we can both make it. Otherwise, maybe just one of us will do it sometimes if we have more going on, but
Especially if we get to dress up.
right? We're
There
good.
you go.
Yeah, I had to take my hood down when
This was this was me this morning.
there you go. That's
Thank
you,
Yeah,
your
you.
840
perfect.
energy, right? Yeah, I
You
wanted
glow like the sun.
a big
Yeah.
thick hoodie so I could really feel like I was hiding, but it does get too warm in this house and I wasn't, yeah. So,
Love
Thank you
that.
so much. Have a good day. We'll talk soon.
okay. Thanks,
Bye.
Erin. Drive safe.
Yeah. And Lisa's a 1-3 emotional generator. Um, right angle cross of explanation. Very cool.
Right? Yeah.
I love the 3 energy. I'm a 6, so I went through the 3, and I feel like a lot of times I pull in that 3 energy of play, especially when I'm starting like a new process or doing something for the first time. I like to just play with it and see how it works and how it goes. And that feels so much lighter. Just like you were saying, it feels lighter to play with it, to see what it is. And sometimes with emotions, coming back to this place of sometimes there isn't a story behind it. Sometimes it's just purely emotions moving, right? And you just get to feel them and just let them move. I know a lot of times before I would try to find the story, like, why am I so sad? Why am I feeling, insert the emotion and
What the
create this
hell's
story.
wrong with me?
What's happening? What do I need to fix? And it's like nothing. You're just feeling, you're just moving that wave. And it's a beautiful part of the experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. Just thank you for bringing attention to that the differences in the emotional wave. Because we're thinking, yes, it's emotional. Yes, we're going to be going through it. But to think that you're going through the different waves within that wave and allowing yourself to understand that and differentiate and not create the story. And just know it's been very heavy. And it can be very heavy, and just allow yourself to take a bath, get a massage, pamper yourself the way a little bit more than you normally would, but just know that the story's not necessary. So thank you for bringing the attention to the different waves, because that's something that I forget about a lot.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing that too. And again, play too, right? Like, how do we make it a little bit lighter and have fun? I mean, at the core of it, that's what humor is. That's why we laugh, right? It's like something so tragic that you laugh and you find that humor to help, get through it a little bit, finding those moments where you could make it just a slight little bit more, joyful, but also being mindful that, it's beautiful also to be in the melancholy and just feel the depth of that melancholy as well. There's no right or wrong emotion. They're all perfect.
Yeah, that energy of I feel like I lived my entire time on the roof with the energy of my 3955 asking me, what the hell is wrong with me? Why I have all the things that I wanted in life, like I'm not trying to be boastful or whatever, but like I had a nice house. I had a really, like all my friends would bitch about their husbands and I'd be like, my husband's a really good guy, and I have the kid that I, spent lots of time and money trying to have and I was able to be home with her and all these things. And I would wake up and I was just so melancholy and I didn't know human design. I didn't know anything about this 3955. And I would have these days where I was like, why do I feel like this? Why? And I'm a projector. I didn't know anything about my energy stuff. And I'd be like, why do I feel this way? I didn't know that as a triple split, where my husband bridges all my splits, when I didn't go around other people, I would start to feel like he was controlling me, even though he wasn't. All these things. And I would think, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? And the biggest thing that changed once I knew human design, even I would see these things, but I still didn't know what to do. And I think for me, the biggest thing was when I would just think, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Today I feel like I don't want to get out of bed. Hmm. Isn't that interesting? Today I feel like my husband is controlling me. Isn't that interesting? He isn't doing anything different than he did the day before, right? When I just told him to go away when he tried to tell me what to do, right?
Yeah.
So that I think is really key. And I think, it's funny how all these transits really build on each other. And I was just looking to see what we're moving into next. And the next transit, when we talk, we'll be talking about head gates because we're moving into gate 63, Sun in gate 63, and Earth in gate 64. So two of the three head gates, that's going to be a lot of in our head energy. So we're coming from, right now, we're going through all this emotional energy, right? This really, we've been looking at last week, this, like we said, what draws us in, where do we want to have the intimacy in our lives, and then what are we willing to commit to this week, and how do we commit to something without losing ourselves in the process, right? How do we have this energy that says, and when I was writing the blog last night, I referenced two quotes that one is actually a Brene Brown, and the other one is one she talks about, which is the Maya Angelou quote, where she talks about, and I can't remember the exact verbiage, but the whole idea about until you can realize that you belong everywhere and nowhere at all, right? That quote, which I'd have to look at to find the thing. Until you realize you belong everywhere, you don't belong anywhere. Until you realize you don't belong, you know, you have to, like, you are just you, and you have to be you and not fit in. You can't try to fit in order to belong. You have to be able to just stand in your uniqueness and just be who you are. So I feel like this is really the energy we're coming from. What draws us into intimacy? What are we willing to do and be loyal to, and how can we do it without losing ourselves? And then it'll be interesting to see. I haven't done the contemplations on the transit next week, but it's going to be a much headier kind of a subject, a very inspirational energy, this whole like connection with, those head gates. When I say head gates, it makes me thinking, but really it's questioning, it's the inspiration. So there's going to be a lot of inspiration as we are still in this energy I started to talk about with Pisces, where we're moving through the end of the astrological year. We're kind of wrapping things up before we move forward. Like Aries is the ram, right? Aries is like full steam ahead kind of energy. We just had Mars stationing direct. We're still sluggishly starting to move forward with all those lessons. But we've also got so much that's been going on about our relationships. Thanks, Jess put the quote in there. You only are free when you realize you belong no place. You belong every place, no place at all. The price is high, the reward is great. Yes, I love that quote. And and then Brene Brown talked about that in her book, Braving the Wilderness, about how she didn't understand it. It made her mad. What do you mean you belong no place, right? And it really is about, the place doesn't define you. This is really this energy of you're not defined by who you're with or who loves you, who doesn't love you. You are worthy of love because you exist, right? And you'll be worthy of it even after you exist too, because you'll always exist, really. Your body might not exist. But so this whole idea of looking at our boundaries as something beautiful, like you were talking about with the
With
little picket
flowers.
fence and the flowers, and don't step on my flowers. I think
Yeah.
it's a beautiful way to express a boundary, right? Well, I have a thing I used to like to say, and I can't remember where I heard it, but I used to say, don't ick my wow. When somebody would criticize something that I was excited about, or they would try to tell me why I couldn't do it, shouldn't do it, why it was wrong, whatever. And I'd be like, don't ick my wow. I used to use that expression when I worked in a clothing store. I would always watch a client come out of the fitting room and see their expression before I gave any response, because the last thing I wanted to do was say, oh no, that's not good for you, if they loved it, right? Because it's not about what I love. Now if they turned to me and they said, what do you think? I would go based on their expression of how I was going to approach it, right? Because I would give my honest opinion. But we don't want to step on people's flowers, because we're not, we don't, do we really want to live in a world where everybody has, and don't take offense if this is your house, okay? Do we really want to live in a world where everybody has white kitchen cabinets and a white quartz countertop and stainless steel appliances and gray walls, painted Sherwin-Williams agreeable gray, and their cream couch? And you know what I mean? It's like where you could look in every house could be anybody's house, right? And I can belong there, that's fine, but does that feel like me? Is that me? Like, are we really expressing ourselves? I don't know, I'm on tangent. I got on.
I feel like that's kind of perfect because that's my backdrop of right now. And that's why I chose the white, because it was neutral. It is that neutral backdrop in which you add your flair, in which you add your flavoring to it. And, so maybe for some people, that's where they add the throws
Mhm.
on the couches. And maybe then they add the crazy pots and pans, or, just really coming to the place that if that's the way you love it, if that's what makes you feel amazing, it's perfect for that reason. That if you're in that space and that feels like home and it feels right, for no other reason, it gets to be
Right,
perfect. It doesn't have to look, any which way, right? Yeah.
right. And if that is really what you love, then I don't
Yeah.
in any way mean to ick that wow for that person. But do we want to live in a world where that's everybody?
No,
Right? Right.
no, no, not at all.
There's nothing wrong with any of that beautiful stuff. It's just when we feel like that's what we have to do.
No, exactly. And then I saw here, Lisa said, I have gates 61 and 64 that are always asking mind questions rather than letting me experience through line 3. I feel that I have everything defined in the head and the ajna except for gate 4. And it was funny. I think it was in Ibiza. I think it was Richard Beaumont. One of them was they were all looking through the charts. They saw my chart, they're like, whoa, you have a very, very active mind. Like you have a very, very busy mind. And getting to find ways in which you can take what's in the mind and putting it on paper potentially, or finding ways to just go, okay, I have all of this noise right now. And I'm also a triple split. That's part of my split is my head and ajna. So I feel you. I feel you there because I can feel
It
sometimes
doesn't get to the throat.
it doesn't get to the throat. So sometimes getting stuck, and that's when I lean into play to the nth degree, because I'm like, I'm here, I'm stuck in here. I need to play, I need to incorporate, I need to start moving all of this and getting it to that place where I can feel that play. I can feel in my body. I'm not just thinking through, because a lot of times when you're stuck up here, it's like, why, how, what am I going to do? How's it going to come out? And especially with 61, that inner truth mystery, trying to find out what that mystery is, being comfortable with having questions that some things aren't going to be answered, finding comfort in that. And sometimes doing a practice with your mind where you go, here's my thoughts, and then you can put them on a leaf and see that leaf floating down the river and go, there's that thought. Or something else where you do like the train, you put it on a piece of like a train cart and you see the train going away, where you start to have the thoughts, but you aren't the thoughts. And that was a huge thing that started to shift for me when I started to go, these are my thoughts, not I am these thoughts. And that really, really helped. And triple split as well, getting out and moving. I love airports. Airports are one of my absolute favorite places. Like I love to travel, but to just be in the airport, be around so many different people, my energy feels amazing and it feels like it's flowing and moving. So just finding ways to work with that and finding, you know, the beauty in the fact that you have that active mind that is, you know, thinking all of those things and bringing that to you, as well as that triple split, that, you know, you get to see the world in such a different way, a unique perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't mind airports either. I don't know if I would say I love them. I don't, but I don't have a problem with hanging out at the airport for a couple hours the way some people, you know, get stressed with that. So I noticed that we're at the top of the hour. I did want to just say though that, you know, not only do we have the new moon coming up, but Venus is going to go retrograde this coming weekend, and it just moved into gate 21, which is all about, you know, our resources. So when we think about Venus being about not just our relationships, it's about our values, and it also has to do with money then also, right? What do we use our money for? So that being in gate 21, which it will then go retrograde in a little bit, which means it'll go back through gate 21. So I'll be honest, money is always a big subject in my marriage. So now I'm kind of like, uh-oh, I'm going to be getting some lessons here. Right around time we're going to start doing our taxes, right? What's this going to be all about, you know? But I'm already going in my head on that one. So that's just something to think about, you know, and when these things start to come up, it's for me very helpful to go, isn't that interesting? This is coming up. So anywhere that we are still feeling this inside about a subject or a thought, we're not vibrating in our highest place of flow and joy and love and all those things. So these are the things we're going to keep having the universe, you know, bringing up, and whatever aspect of that is needing some tweaking, I guess is the best way to say, is going to be what we're feeling. So when we're feeling that, if we can remind ourselves, isn't that interesting? This is coming up. How is this happening for me? Because everything is happening for us for our greatest expansion, even when it sucks in the moment. And honestly, if it sucks really bad, it's probably expanding you the most, right? Uh, so
You know, the visual I love to use for that is if you think about you're building a home or you're building something, right? And so you've created this layer. And when we're going into retrograde, it's not to test you to go, oh, you didn't do it. It's almost like a checkpoint of like, okay, we're going to build the next level in this home. We're going to build this next level of something. Let's just check and make sure we fully got this last one. Did we get all of the nooks and crannies? Did we get everything? Is it solid that we're ready for this next thing? And that it's almost a gift to find what that thing is. Because could you imagine you're building your house and you have this foundational piece, and then you build something on top and you build something on top, and then the whole thing falls down, right? So this is really coming to help you go, hold on, let's just check this out. Let's make sure that we're road ready, you know? It's almost like if you think even about a car, before they put the car on the road, they put it through that testing, right? To make sure it's safe to drive on the road. And so, yes, it's going to be a pain when the stuff comes up and you're like, oh, I thought we fixed this. But it's such a wonderful thing to go, oh, hold on, let's fix the safety feature in the car before we put it on the road, before we take that next step. And so just really kind of working with that story to see how it is so truly there to help you and help you grow.
okay. Does anybody have anything else they want to add before we wrap this up? We're going to probably be back on here, and I think the transit changes on Saturday, so Jess and I are going to meet and figure out when we're doing the next one. But is there anything we didn't talk about? I mean, there's a lot of planets that we didn't talk about, but is there anything pressing that anybody had? If not, you can go to the comments on the Facebook thread, or if you're watching this later on YouTube, please share in the comments how this energy is showing up for you. And okay, so I think Jess and I are going to stick with this dress up theme. If you came on late, you missed I had my hood up and my sunglasses for the gate 40. energy. And Jess, I wanted to say, just when you were just talking now about Venus, I felt like you were like completely channeling gate 37 energy and everything you were saying. It was so peaceful and nurturing and beautiful. So, we'll have to start planning our costumes, and maybe we'll figure out a way we can get the music to play just without too much trouble. So anyone? No? Final words, Jess? No?
Yeah, I just want to send everybody so much love and, take that time to be gentle with yourself, connecting with yourself, realizing there's a lot going on right now. And just remember, where you are, love yourself. I love and accept myself exactly where I am. And we're sending you love. We love you in everything you're experiencing and, exactly who you are. We celebrate you in your uniqueness.
Peace out, everybody.